Okay, ek is op die ene wat praat oor die dele van 'n sirkel. So ons het gesels oor die omtrek, oor die deursnee, oor die radius. We talked about the chords and the segments, the major and the minor arc, and then we also talked about the sectors and the tangents. Né? Toe het ons gepraat oor wat dit beteken wanneer iets onderspan. So when something subtends an angle, what does that mean? It can either be an arc or a chord that subtends something. And this one was important because we got that relationship where in this case x will be double the size of y because both x and y are subtended by the same arc or chord, but the one is at the center of the circle and the other one is at the circumference. Almal nog by? Okay. Gaan nie daai doen nie. Toe het ons hierdie stelling gedoen wat gesê het wanneer hy kom van die middelpunt van die sirkel af en hy's loodreg op die koord dan halveer hy die koord. So we found that the length of that is 4 and then you can use Pythagoras to find OS. And remember any radius that we draw in will be equal to 5 then. Nee, enige radius in daai skets gaan dan gelyk wees aan 5. As jy die radius van die sirkel het, het jy die radius oral. Are you guys fine? Okay, now page over. Good. Then if we just swap this one around, this time we don't give you that it is from the midpoint of the circle, but we tell you that it bisects the chord and that it is perpendicular. Met ander woorde, dan kan jy aflei die lyn gaan deur die middelpunt van die cirkel. Okay, and this is the one that we did in that exercise. And we talked about this one as well. What will the size of x be? What is the size of this angle? That's a straight line going through the middle of the circle. So it's a diameter. Okay? Hoeveel grade is daai hoek? 180. So hoe groot gaan x wees? 90 degrees. Okay, so this is another theorem. It's in the video, I'm sure. Okay, en toe het ons x en y hierso gaan uitwerk deur gebruik te maak van hoek by die middelpunt van die sirkel is 2 keer hoek by die omtrek. We use that to solve these. And this is the one that I did in the video for you guys yesterday. So when we have the diameter, you must know that it forms a 180 degree angle. Okay? So then, if we say that angles that subtend, or angles that are subtended by the same 2 points, so I have those 2 points, and they also subtend this, then you apply the theorem and say, well then, if this is 180 degrees, then this must be 90 degrees. Okay, so hy is 'n spesiale toepassing van daai ene wat ons gedoen het. And I can say this must be 90 and that must be 90 because they're all subtended by the same chord that forms a 180 degree angle in the midpoint. So omdat hy die 180 grade hoek vorm by die middelpunt en dieselfde boog, do you see it's the same bow that subtends all 3 of those, then they must all be equal to 90 degrees. En sy rede is hoek in 'n halwe sirkel, angle in a semicircle. And on this page, it's the one there in the middle. Second line, do you see? Hoek in 'n halwe sirkel of a semicircle. Okay, so then this is the one that you had to do for homework. So both A and B, you can just say, because do you see they are subtended, A is subtended by this arc, so it forms a 90 degree angle there. Hy is hoek in 'n halwe sirkel. En B weer aan die ander kant gaan ook 'n hoek in 'n halwe sirkel wees. Then to calculate C, don't overcomplicate it. You have a triangle here, of which you have 2 of the angles known. Hoe werk ons aan die derde hoek uit? Binne hoeke van 'n driehoek, né? Sum of angles of a triangle. Excuse julle. Then to find D, we must say it's also an angle in half a circle. And to find angle E, we have a known angle. Ons het daai 30 grade, ons het hierdie 90 grade. So dan kan ek weer hoeke van 'n driehoek gebruik om vir E uit te werk. Okay. Now we're starting on a new one. Okay. If I have 2 points there, do you guys agree that this arc subtends... Hoekom gaan dit heeltyd weg? Dalk met die highlighter. Stem julle saam, hierdie boog onderspan daai hoek. Hoekom gaan dit heeltyd weg? Stem julle saam dat die boog onderspan daai hoek. Do you all agree? Okay. Now, do you also agree that this also subtends that? Nee? Those two angles will be equal to one another because they are subtended by the same chord. So, hoeke wat onderspan word deur 'n boog of 'n koord wat op die sirkelrand lê, is gelyk aan mekaar. Now I can go and swap that around. Do you agree? Kom nou. Do you agree that this chord subtends this angle? Stem julle saam? And do you agree that this chord also subtends that angle? In other words, those two angles will also be equal to one another. Okay. Sien julle hy vorm soos 'n strikdassie? It looks like a little bow tie. Do you see that? Sometimes the bow tie is slightly skew. Look at this. Okay. But do you see there's still a bow tie there? Hy's net nie meer 'n baie mooi bow tie nie. If you are working with a bow tie, then the top 2 points and the bottom 2 points are equal to one another. If all 4 points are on the circle circumference. So sien julle hierdie een is 'n bietjie whack, maar al 4 sy punte is op die sirkelrand. You see that? Okay? So if you can see a bow tie like that, then you have to know that this will be equal to this and this will be equal to this. Okay. En sy rede is hoeke in dieselfde sirkelsegment. Joh, I messed this one up heavy, eh? Kom ons sit 'n eraser daarin. Okay, so they're subtended by a bow or a chord and they are equal to one another. Same here. Okay. En jou rede, dit is op hierdie blaadjie van julle, is dit in die tweede ry, die derde ene. Do you see there? Angles in the same segment. So hoeke in dieselfde sirkelsegment. Okay, so let's look at this. Who can tell me what the size of x will be in the first triangle? 38 degrees, what would my reason be? Angles in the same circle segment. Why? Because we see that they are subtended by this. No? Do you see? They're subtended by the same. You can either work with the chord or the bow. Hoekom gee hy altyd homself uit? Anyway, julle kry die idee. Hy gaan net vinnig weg weer. Daarso sien julle hom? Cool, want hy gaan nou weer weggaan. They're subtended by the same bow. In other words, x must also be equal to 38 degrees en jou rede sal wees hoeke in dieselfde segment. Wat sal die grootte wees van y? Ook 38, né? And you can either deduct that by using this or by this, because it's in the same segment as both of them. Né? So jy kon gewerk het van jou y-waarde af soontoe, van jou x-waarde af soontoe, of gewerk het van jou oorspronklike hoek. Want hy maak 'n strikdassie met die ene. Daar's my strikdassie. Of hy maak 'n strikdassie met die ene ook. Do you see? Ja, ek sal ook daai uitgeveer, dit raak 'n bietjie wild. Okay. Now let's move on to the second circle. Wag, kom ek sit eers daai antwoorde op. All of them are equal to 38 degrees. Okay. Now in the second circle, what will the size of x be? 30 degrees. Moenie die mekaar raak met die 40 en die 30 nie. We're looking at this bow that subtends both the 30 and the x. In other words, x will be equal to 30 degrees, angles in the same circle segment. Okay, and why? 40 degrees, same reason. Hoeke in dieselfde cirkelsegment. Because they are both subtended by this. Die boog CD. So because they're both subtended by that, they will be equal to one another. Okay. And then this one we sort of did when we were marking the other one. If the chords are equal to one another, then the angles that they subtend will also be equal to one another. Okay, goed. Ek dink ek gaan hom eers stop daar vir vandag. So julle huiswerk vir môre is. Maar ons gaan later praat oor kode vierhoeke. Please go and look at number 3 again. It's going to be easier now because now you have all the theorems that you need. Okay, and then I also want you to look at number 5. So my raad vir julle is om hulle lekker groot in jou boek te